Hey guys, what is happening? And welcome back to another episode of Discography Rewind, the show where I review a band's entire discography, excluding EPs, B-sides, side projects, and all that other junk, in order to see how a band got to the sound that they have today, and where I also reflect on my own personal enjoyment of these albums, etc. If there's a band that you would like me to review, whose discography you'd like for me to review, then be sure to head on over to my Patreon to partake in a special poll where you will be able to provide suggestions and vote on the artists that you would like to see be featured next in this series. But that's self-plugging aside. Let us get into the actual review. The album we will be reviewing today is the second album by the Blackened Deathcore band Carnifex, and the album is titled The Diseased and the Poisoned. So the songwriting is pretty much raw deathcore, but the band actually starts to incorporate some more melodic riffs akin to bands like Carcass and In Flames here and there, which was already a clear sign of the band's desire to be different to the rest of their peers. In terms of production and sound, the album sounds like it was produced in a more or less traditional death metal way, as opposed to the extremely down-tuned approach that their previous album had. Not to say it's not heavy, but the songwriting was done in a more Cannibal Corpse or Behemoth-like style. One would easily mistake it for death metal and not deathcore. So despite its fairly long track list, the songs on this album are generally a lot shorter than those on the previous record. The songwriting, like I said, is pretty much pure and unfiltered deathcore for the most part, other than the melodic riffs that pop up from time to time. So there are still breakdowns aplenty to be found on this record if you are a deathcore purist. With regards to the vocals, Scott's vocals didn't change or deviate too much from the Mitch Lucker style that was very prevalent on their debut record, the previous record. However, his shrieks definitely weren't as high-pitched as Mitch's, indicating Scott's clear black metal influences. Also, his enunciation still needed time to grow, as it would by the time Die Without Hope was released. Apart from being more melodic, the riffs that do pop up definitely have a somewhat groove element to them, which was another nice thing to hear. The titles of pretty much all the songs sound like they belong on a black metal record, but the lyricism didn't really change all that much from their debut album. The drumming on this record is just it's on time. It's just perfect for this kind of style and sound that the band were going for on this record. In terms of sound and tone and feel, this album felt like a blend of old school In Flames and Carcass with breakdowns and deathcore vocals, as opposed to death metal vocals. Another thing I noticed is that while the songs may be short, they definitely deliver on the energy, the brutality, and the overall thrill that the album has. But the album doesn't overstay its welcome. Another statement that you'll notice I will keep on bringing up when it comes to deathcore, because as much as I love deathcore, I can agree with most other reviewers that if a deathcore record is too long, I'm looking at you, Oceano, with your debut album Depths, then it just becomes boring and a real chore to listen to, and can sometimes even cause you to just skip tracks or turn off the record entirely. So I do agree with that sentiment despite my love of this genre. So otherwise, there's nothing really much else that can be said about this album other than it kicks ass and is great music to check out if you would just want to mosh and beat the shit out of stuff. So, overall, this is a decent improvement over their debut album. There were many little hints and subtleties in the songs that were a strong indicator that the band were willing to evolve the deathcore genre to something bigger, better, and greater. Everything from the drumming to the guitar work is superb, and Scott's vocals are still awesome, even if they didn't actually change all that much between this album and their debut album. The songwriting definitely was a lot tighter and incorporated a lot more elements to it, and the album manages to keep you listening without being longer than necessary. This album was definitely a step in the right direction, not just for the band, but for the genre as a whole. The lyricism may not have been exactly what the band are known for now, but I doubt that matters to anyone looking to just have fun in the mosh pit. If you enjoy Early Side Suicide Silence, Early In Flames, and Carcass, then you'll definitely enjoy this one. And with that all being said, I come to the conclusion that I would have to rate this album, Carnifex's The Diseased and the Poison, a solid 7.2 out of 10. So, as you can tell, I enjoyed this album quite a bit. Not nearly as much as their albums that followed from Hell Chose Me onwards, but it's definitely one of the better releases in the deathcore genre, especially in the early days of deathcore. And it just goes to show that not every deathcore band were willing to stay kind of stuck in this very formulaic approach and release an entire category of albums that just sounded the same. This just goes to show that there really were some bands out there, and still are bands out there, who actually thought to themselves, you know what, there's so much more that can be done with this genre, and this is the band that, without question, decided to do that, with the exception of their predecessor band, Job for a Cowboy, which many death metal fans have given praise to. So yeah, that's my overall thoughts, and this concludes the review of Carnifex's The Diseased and the Poison. So my question to those of you listening to this, what were your thoughts on the album? Was this one of your favorites? Was this one of your least favorites in their discography? And what band would you like me to check out? Whose discography would you like me to review next? Let me know in the comments below, or you can donate to my Patreon if you want to take part in the poll. Also, if you want to follow me on social media, the links will be in the description box below. If you haven't checked out my Discography Rewind series on Karak Angren, the link to the playlist will be in the description box as well. And yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends if necessary, and if you enjoy what you see here on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Anyway, that concludes the review, so thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and until the next episode of Discography Rewind, take care of yourselves, and as always, have a kick-ass day. Bye!